I think I'm gonna have a sleepy puppy for this podcast. This is Toots. Say hi. He's giving me hi. Silly baby. She likes nap laps, so I'm assuming she's gonna probably snooze while I do this. Hello. So welcome to episode 6 of the Knit in the Grit podcast. My name is Jackson and I am your host. You can find me on social media on Instagram at the Knit in the Grit. I'm also on Ravelry as Jackson Rowe, R-O-E, all one word. And I also have a Ravelry group for this podcast in particular. It is the Knit in the Grit podcast. You can find that on Ravelry. And that is where I will be posting all the show notes for this episode and any other kind of yarny, knitting related project or just stuff that I think is pertinent to the podcast. So yeah, I feel currently like a Bond villain with a Dalmatian instead of a cat. Or Dr. Evil. Oh, the pool guy's outside. Okay. But yeah, so today is December 21st, so it's the winter solstice, and we're just a few more days away from actual Christmas. So I hope everyone is relaxing and enjoying time with their families and not terribly stressed. But I figured I would pop on here and do a podcast because I do have some finished objects this week. Hello. Hi, what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, get comfy. Just gonna make this difficult. Ugh. But, let me grab all my things so I can reach them. But I figured first off, I'm gonna show y'all my first finished object, which is my Hermiones Autumn Socks. So this is the Hermiones Everyday Sock pattern. Both of them are done now. 100% complete. All of the ends are woven in. So that's really exciting. I've been wanting to finish these up for a while now, just because I really enjoyed sock knitting and it's really nice to have them on the needles because, you know, they're one of those things that you can power through really fast. Hello. But so I finally picked those back up around the time that I finished the Mistral sweater, which I haven't finished matcha stitching all of that in yet, but as long as it's kind of done by next fall, I'm not going to be terribly bothered, just because it's been a little bit too cold in Oxford to really wear it recently. It's got a lot of eyelets up the sides, so it's more of like a kind of an early-ish fall, like when it's just starting to get chilly kind of sweater. But either way, I'm considering it done. It's off the needles, the knitting part is done, so that's exciting. But once I finished knitting on that, I cast it on the second sock for these, and so now they're done. They get to be added to my little pile of socks that I have finished this year, which I think now is 1, 2, 3, 4. I have completed 5 pairs of socks, which I think is pretty impressive for someone who had never knit a sock until this past summer. So that's really exciting for me. And then my next finished object, everything's precariously piled to my right. The next finished object is, to see, this is a little, you're making this difficult. Your butt is my chin rest right now. So my next finished object is the gift knit that I've been working on for my sister. So I finished her mittens. I was originally going to be making these 100% color work by following the Evian mitten pattern by Skander Knits, but just due to the nature of the yarn that I was using, the color work wasn't showing up. So I just did a little bit of a color work cuff on these, and that because I did want to implement the sagey green, which is Hemisphere by Autumn and Indigo. Tootsie, you need to sit down. Sit down. Tootsie, sit. You know, she's trained very well, but she's partially deaf, but that means her other ear works really well, but her selective hearing is kicking in right now. Tootsie, sit. Sit. You gotta pick your feet, but you're not gonna lick it. Oh my god. Goodness gracious. Oh gosh, you got your floofs in my eye. Get your nose out of there. I love you. But anyways, so I still wanted to implement this like kind of teal sagey green that is in the cuff in this Hemisphere colorway, because I thought they looked really pretty together. But these mittens are done. All of the ends are woven in. I have one more thing I need to do on them though. So to make them 100% done, what I'm going to do this afternoon with my mom when she gets back from tennis is make tassels to attach. So I'm going to make a little cord and then have a tassel at the end, and the tassel at the end will implement some more of this tealy green. So that way then they're both, you know, a little bit more cohesive. It brings the teal color back in, and then it also allows my sister to tie them together so she doesn't misplace a mitten. Because I do have a pair of mittens that has the tassel on like a little like twisted cord, or maybe it's braided, but and I had gotten those in Norway. My sister really liked those mittens. She's not one to buy souvenirs. She's like, oh, I don't need that in the moment, but then later on she's like, oh, I wish I'd gotten that. So I decided to kind of model these a little bit after those mittens that I had gotten in Norway that have the little tassel attached. So that's what I'm going to be doing this afternoon, and then these are going to be 100% done, and all they have to do is be wrapped. So those are my two finished objects. I was hoping to have another finished object for this week, but it's a big project, so it's just something that is going to take a little bit longer kind of no matter what. But I have this in my really cute, very festive Knitting Nelly bag. I think this is the large size. I really love these bags because for anyone who has watched this podcast before, I do quilt. It takes me a long time to quilt, but I enjoy it and I love having quilts. I think they're really great. And so I really like that I could get a project bag that implemented quilting patterns. Hey Toots. So in here I have my I Smell Snow shawl. So down here where this progress keeper is where I believe I was when I last podcasted. So I've made a fair bit of progress on this. The decreases is making this move so much faster. But here it is in its entirety. It's very big. I have obviously transitioned to the second color, and I am on, I think I'm almost done with the second ball of this tawny color, and this is in Garth Noir. So the I Smell Snow Shawl is by Melody Hoffman, or B Mandarins on Instagram. And I love this shawl. I really do. And I think once I finish this and have a little bit of separation from working on this pattern, because I'm not one to really repeat patterns after I finish them, I think I'm going to, maybe later on in 2019, maybe at the end of spring, cast on another I Smell Snow shawl, but do it in fingering weight yarn, like what the pattern calls for, versus the DK. So that way then I can actually have a lighter weight one, and I've got a bunch of fingering weight at the house in Oxford that I could use, and you know, it could be a more colorful, more fun shawl option. So that is my plan. But I'm loving this. I'm hoping to have this done by New Year's, which, I mean, my current goal is to have everything that I have that is a work in progress that is here with me done before New Year's. So, which would be most of my work in progresses other than the Haze scarf that I'm knitting for my boyfriend, which is back in Oxford right now because I couldn't fit it in my luggage. But so I'm making good progress on this. I've added a couple of inches on it in the past. Hi. I've added a couple of inches on this in the past few days since I've gotten home. And for those of you who don't know, I am in Florida right now. Hence the change of scenery. Hence the little spotted pupper who's wanting lots and lots of attention. Hi. Yes, you little attention hussy. I love you though. But so I'm back at home for the holidays and stuff, so yeah. So my next work in progress, since you're gonna have to support your own head, is in my other Knitting Nelly bag. This is a new cast on. I casted this on Sunday. I did this while I was at the airport, getting ready to fly home. So this is the Wonderland Sock pattern by Tabitha Gandy, and I am knitting this in Woolberry Fiber Co.'s Christmas color Oh Christmas Tree, which I'm really loving how this looks. You're getting these really wonderful pops of bright yellow and orange and red and pink with some purples and blues, which looks kind of like rainbow Christmas lights on a Christmas tree. So I figured this would be a fun kind of festive cast on. I know I have a ridiculous amount of Christmas socks. This will be Christmas themed sock number 3 because I've got my first ever pair. I brought all my socks with me. My Odenenbaum socks, and then the forget what these ones are called, but they're on my Ravelry projects page. But these have the little eyelet Christmas tree motif on them. So I'm gonna have a lot of Christmas socks. I think my plan is to have eventually like 6 pairs of Christmas socks, because I also brought this is the Christmas Cocoa colorway by Woolberry Fiber Co., which, by the way, both of these are her berry cashmere sock yarn, so they're an MCM and they're really, really nice, and I'm loving knitting with them. But I brought the Christmas Cocoa colorway as well, just in case I, for whatever reason, was insane and just finished everything and needed an additional cast on. As you know, as you do, and you know when you get hit with the cast-on-itis. But so that is my other work in progress. I am currently on the heel flap and gusset, or I'm currently working on the heel flap. I'll hopefully have the heel flap and gusset all done probably by like maybe noon, 1 o'clock today. And then I can get started on the leg. But I've also got other stuff that I'm working on, so, you know, I'm in no real rush. I honestly think I could definitely get all of my current projects that I have with me done by the time I get back to Oxford on the 31st, so. Goals. Whoops. Down went my I Smell Snow shawl. And then next up, last time I showed this, I had only had the ribbing done. But this is what I have on my gable cap. So this is another pattern by Tabitha Gandy, and this is, I think, her most recent, or her only hat pattern that she has come out with. And I have wanted to work on this for quite some time and stuff, and I brought it with me, but I was unable to start working on it until really yesterday. So these, I believe I've done the first 9 rows of the cable pattern, and that was all done yesterday afternoon because I had to go to the to a local yarn store here that I'm not a huge fan of, but it's more because every time I go in there, I feel like I get kind of ignored or treated like I don't know what I'm doing. But I think that's just because it's a bunch of older women who are in there, and I don't think they ever really see people my age in their knitting store. But so I had to go get a US size 6 needle, so that way then I could move on to the main hat pattern, because I forgot to bring my interchangeable size 6s. So I've been making good progress on this. The pattern isn't terribly difficult, but Tabitha had posted a tutorial video on how to do her bobbles and stuff, so that's been really helpful, just because I'm much more of a visual learner, and so she has written instructions for how to construct the bobbles and some of the more difficult stitches that are in this hat, but I can do it, but I really appreciated that she did a tutorial video, because then I can watch her do it and know how to actually do the stitch. So this is moving along fairly quickly, especially now that I know how to do kind of the difficult stitches and stuff, so it doesn't feel as intimidating and it's not as slow, because I'm not having to refer back to the video and then continue and then keep referring back to the video because I'm learning the stitch pattern. But I'm really excited because I want to make 2 of these. So this is the Klimt colorway in Brooklyn Tweed Arbor. And then the second color is going to be Gale, which is a dove gray. So I'm hoping that this one turns out well, but again, I'm not super sure how this kind of mustardy gold will look on me. But I know that the gray color will look good and it'll get a lot of wear. I've been wanting to make something in mustard for a very long time. So that's kind of it for my, ooh, hello. Okay, bye. That's kind of it for my works in progress. So now it's kind of on to what is next in the queue of what I'll be knitting. So I have planned out a Christmas Eve cast on, and so because I was unable to really do the colorwork pattern for the Evia Mittens by Ellie of Skiing Knits, I did bring the pattern and I have it all printed out and everything. This is what they're supposed to look like. I figured what I would do is I would knit my own pair of Selbu mittens as my Christmas Eve cast on. So I haven't quite decided if it's going to be the Evia mittens or the simple Selbu mitts as part of the Selbu Mitten Club too, but I just need to do a little swatch and kind of figure out if this is going to work, because this is Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, which is, I believe, technically a worsted weight yarn, but it's fairly thin and it like plumps up when you wash it and stuff. But this is the Long John's colorway and the Snowbound colorway, and so I've been dying to work with these. I've been putting off casting on a pair of mittens in these colors for a while, and these are officially going to be my New Year's Eve cast on, especially now that my sister's mittens are done. But so that is first on the list of things that I will be working on next once Christmas Eve rolls around and once some of these other projects are finished. All right, I need a little chai tea break. So next is, for anyone who follows me on Instagram will have seen that I had posted my Make 9 for 2019. I have never done a Make 9 before, partially because I didn't have my knitting Instagram when last year's 2018 Make 9 was happening, and I also didn't really follow any other knitting Instagram or knitting podcasts online at that time. So all I saw was people posting Make 9 2018, but I wasn't really sure what that meant exactly, if it was what people had made in the previous year or what was really going on with it. So I wasn't 100% sure when I first saw Make 9 what that really meant. And so for anyone who doesn't know what it is a gentle challenge, and it is hosted by, hold on, let me tell you. But it's hosted by Rochelle of the Home Row Fiber Co. and LuckyLucille.com. So it is a gentle challenge. You figure out what 9 things you are dying to make in 2019. Sounds awesome. And it's really cool because there's a hashtag, it's Make92019. And you know, you can see what a ton of other people are planning on making. I think it covers not just knitting, it's like knitting and sewing and whatever kind of crafting it is that you want to do, crocheting, that kind of stuff, but it's just 9 things you want to make. So my Make 9 is, so I have 2 pairs of socks, 2 pairs of mittens, 3 shawls slash scarves, and a sweater that are in my Make 9. So first on my Make 9 is the Paddington Station socks. These are by Ambrose Smith. They're really beautiful, very simple kind of textural sock. And I haven't quite decided what color I'm going to make those in yet, but I do have some kind of tonal sock yarn in Oxford that I'll probably be utilizing for those socks. I really love the textured pattern, and Amber Rose came out with a number of other sock patterns as well that are all kind of, I think, themed together. They might be a collection, actually. Hi, Dad. My dad's about to take the dog for a walk. But, and I'll probably end up making some more on the, I'll probably end up making more of her sock patterns as well, because I think they're really lovely. And then the next pattern is the Skiff Hat. This is by Jared Flood. And it's a cable cap. I believe it's done in Brooklyn Tweed Shelter. So I'll probably be making another order at some point for that. I really like the color that they did this in, which I think is actually snowbound. But either way, that is on the list of things to do. I'm really loving how cable hats look, and so I want to continue to make some more. The other one, this is the Moraine Shawl. This is by Abby Knits. I saw this on Instagram the other day. I think she just came out with the pattern, but it's like, I think it's like a rectangular shawl with, and I think it's a little bit on the diagonal, but it's got these diagonal color shifts, and each color is a different texture. I have no idea what colors I'm going to do mine out of, but I really loved how it looked, and it just looked really cozy and really fun. And I'm just kind of now getting into knitting shawls, so I'm kind of just rolling with it, because the other shawl that I want to make is the A Girl's Best Friend by Isabel Kramer. And I have the yarn for this. It is all ready to go. It is wound. I have the pattern printed out, and all I have to do is cast it on. I am just currently, I didn't bring the yarn with me because I was trying to get here with one check bag and, you know, like what you can bring as a carry-on. But I'm trying to get my I Smell Snow shawl done first before I cast them on, so I don't have a ton of shawls on the needles. So as soon as the I Smell Snow shawl comes off the needles, I'll be able to cast on the Girl's Best Friend shawl, which I'm expecting I'll be working on the I Smell Snow shawl until like right before I leave to go back to Oxford for the new year. So it should time out pretty nicely. Next on here is the Lamest Eve Scarf by Diana Walla. It is this lovely, lovely, lovely colorwork scarf. I think It was teamed up with Espace Chico in Canada, but I really liked it. It feels very like old-fashioned ski resort kind of chalet kind of scarf, and it just looked like a ton of fun. And I'm trying to bolster my wardrobe with handmade things for the winter, since my current plan is to probably within the next year move a bit farther north than Oxford. And so I really want to be able to not have to buy a bunch of winter stuff other than, you know, actual winter coats and, you know, shoes, but be able to have a bunch of scarves and sweaters that I have made myself that I get to wear and, you know, get cozied up in. So that is the plan with most of my stuff in my Make 9, is for them to be utilized for, you know, like colder weather than what I'm used to. Next on here is I am jumping on the No Frills bandwagon. I have been seeing so many people make it on social media and on, you know, podcasts and things like that, and it looks wonderfully comfortable. I haven't wanted to make it in the past because mohair doesn't really bother me when it comes to like it touching my skin, but when I'm working with it, the little fluffy bits like to go up my nose, and it makes my nose really, really itchy and makes me sneeze a lot while I'm working with it, and that has been what has prevented me from wanting to make it in the past. But at this point in time, like, I really want one. It sounds awesome. It sounds so comfortable. So I'm gonna bite the bullet. I'm gonna put up with the itchy nose for a little while, and I'm gonna cast that on. And then my next project is another pair of socks. This will be the third thing that I probably make by Tabitha Gandy. So this is the Waiting for Henry socks. I have seen these on Instagram and on the Hey Sister Yarn Co podcast for a while. They're really, really beautiful, and I have a bunch of Woolberry Fiber Co's Berry Cashmere in Oxford that I have been kind of putting aside to make these socks with. And I think I've figured out the colors that I'm going to end up using. I think what I'm going to do is use Box of Chocolates. I believe it's the Woodland colorway. It's this really dark foresty green. And macaron, or trying to think, what else do I have? I have a brown too, which might look pretty nice. But I just need to kind of go and hold them next to each other and kind of figure that all out. But that'll be happening as well. I've been really liking Tabitha Gandy's sock patterns and just kind of her patterns in general. And then last but not least, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. So other than the Evia mittens, which I've already showed you, last but not least is the Brave at Heart mittens. So I want to make those. I think the pattern is really gorgeous, and also if you were to do them in non-traditional Hogwartsy colors, it wouldn't come off as very, it wouldn't be in your face Harry Potter. So like if you were to like do like a different kind of golden yellow, or, you know, like a darker red, it would feel a little bit different, so you could be nerdy in secret, which is usually what I am, but I've recently been kind of embracing my nerdiness a little bit more. I tend to like to be a more subtle nerd in regards to my love of like literary characters and stories and stuff like that. But I think I'm gonna do these in the full-blown like bright red and rich golden yellow. I just have to find the yarn. I believe the Brave at Heart mittens are done in fingering weight. So, and I think on Ravelry it said Ficolana, but I'm not sure. But I kind of want to get a very woolly kind of like classic color work kind of yarn to work with, like Rama or something. So I actually really want to work with Rama, and so that'll be happening at some point, but it might be with these. I just need to go and like look and see what colors they have and what weights of yarns they have, and you know, how readily available I can get them. But that is kind of it for my knitting. I think this afternoon my mom and I are going to be making tassels for my sister's mittens, and then I also need to make tassels for my I Smell Snow shawl, because I'm going to put those on all four sides. I think the sides that end up kind of like wrapping around my neck will definitely need tassels for sure, just because due to the fact that I'm working this in DK, I think it needs a little extra weight to kind of stay like wrapped around you. So I'm going to be making some probably very big tassels for the I Smell Snow shawl. And I'm trying to convince my parents to play some board games with me tonight. Maybe we'll see how that happens. My mom will play Spite and Malice with me, but that can kind of happen whenever, since it's a card game. But anyways, I hope everyone is having a really wonderful holiday season, and you know, you're getting to relax with family and friends and people important to you. I know that's something I've been enjoying a lot, even though I haven't been doing too much while at home. But I hope everyone, no matter what, you know, what you celebrate or anything, you know, like whatever the holiday season means to you, I hope you're able to enjoy it. And I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and a wonderful solstice. And I hope everyone's staying warm and healthy. And yeah, so thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.